Hey guys, I'm back. My name is Grace. You're welcome to my channel, Grace's World TV 111. To all my current subscribers, you're welcome. To those watching for the first time, you're welcome as well. If you'd like to get to know more information about me, please feel free to check out the About section on my channel and you can get all the info you need. If this channel is a blessing to you and you're enjoying the content, feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that, when I release a word, you have full access to everything. And if this channel is a blessing, I invite you to please sow, give, to support pushing the gospel forward, giving to the poor, and just furthering God's kingdom. And expect a blessing back and for people to sow into you. Okay, so what am I discussing? The topic of this video is a sudden financial breakthrough is yours. Do this now as you touch God's heart. Where did this come from? A lot of you might have noticed that from March 8th, I would say, I haven't really been on YouTube at all. I just felt like God was telling me to pull back, spend some time in his presence in just prayer and praise and spending time with him, and that he was going to move in a mighty way and do unusual things on my behalf. So, it's just, it's been over 6 weeks, about 6 weeks. I've just, I fell back. I said, okay, I'm definitely going to spend time, God, in your presence, since that's what you're asking, ramp up my prayer time, ramp up my praise time. And out of nowhere, I felt like God was saying, do this. And that it was going to yield big financial rewards. So, and at that time, I didn't even really realize what he was going to do. I just knew it's a new season. For those of you in California, something I noticed, and ever since I came back from my trip to San Francisco, and if you want to know more about that trip, I do have it in my video section. I don't have that many videos. It's titled The Golden Gate Bridge and Open Door and what God did when I went there. I'd advise you to listen to that. It was really a blessing. But ever since I came back from that trip, even as San Francisco has the Golden Bridge, I've just really noticed that, golden keys of opportunity have opened up, golden just opportunities and just keys of access, and that was what God promised me, when I went by faith to San Francisco. And so, yeah, coming back, I'm telling you, and following through on what God told me to do in praising, in prayer, provision. I'm talking about opportunities, open doors, favor, spending favor, money where, you don't even have to use your money. Other people are using money on you, going to restaurants and talking to somebody or talking to a manager. And once I'm even done talking, I order my food. Literally, they're don't worry about it. You know what I mean? You don't have to pay for it. Or just God putting me in circumstances where literally, he just blesses me, creates opportunities to bless me. And I'll tell you the testimonies of literally some of the things he's done, since he told me to follow a directive, and I did it. And it's really simple. But I know there are a lot of people that are a little bit skeptic, have a little skepticism, dealing with, Christianity and stuff. But I just, when God shows me or tells me to do something and I see it's a blessing to me, I want to be a blessing to all my subscribers. And so, I'll pass on the message. That's why I'm on YouTube, to, deliver God's word and what he tells me to do. So it's really simple. This is Passover week or whatever, and it commemorates, the children of Israel being brought out of Egypt, out of a place of bondage into great wealth, into good health. You know what I mean? Going into a promised land, being delivered from their enemies. It's also a time where, we celebrate Jesus being resurrected, going up into heaven, being rising from the dead on the third day and stuff. And so this is a very important week. According to Exodus 12, it talks about, like, that's the specific time when God told Moses, gave him the plans to get the children of Israel out of Egypt. And so he had said in Exodus 12:2 that this is a beginning of months to us. So we have the Gregorian calendar where we count January through December. But there's actually the Jewish calendar as well that people consider God's calendar, because, you know, that's the calendar, like the dates and stuff in the Bible. If you look, it goes in line with the Jewish calendar. And so in the Jewish calendar time, we're actually in the first month of the Jewish calendar. So this is like a beginning of months for us. Like, it's Passover time, it's celebration of Jesus's resurrection, but it's also a new beginning. And so when I started to know and realize that, or whatever, God spoke to me and he was just like, I need you to do this. Very simple. Take $30 and sow up into a ministry. You know what I mean? Like somebody you respect, somebody that is pushing the gospel forward, somebody that's doing like the works of giving to the poor and stuff, and like taking care of kingdom business. So I did that. And then he said, sow down, that is, give to the poor, the less fortunate. You know, break up the $30 into 6. Give it to 6 people, $5 to 6 people, and watch and see what I'm going to do for you. So, you know, I just obeyed. I didn't waste any time. Sowed up into a specific ministry, sowed down, you know, giving to 6. Like, I'd be driving, if I saw a homeless person, pass it on. Just as I felt like God was saying, okay, give it to that person, give it to that person, you know, until it was like the 6 people. And I promise you, once I obey that, literally, things just shit, like doors opening, money coming from different places. And so I want to tell you some of the miracles of what God did. So, okay, so after I did that, so I'm in line to get, I order food from Chili's. So I'm talking to the manager, you know, my food is getting made or whatever. It's taking a little bit longer than usual or whatever, but I'm just like, you know, talking to the manager while I'm waiting or whatever. And so like when it's time to like, you know, get the food, he's like, don't worry about it or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? You don't have to pay for it. When does that usually happen? I never see that usually being an occurrence. I go somewhere else on another day for lunch. I'm behind a family of 8. You know, they have kids. You know, the kids are taking a while to decide. You know what I mean? I'm right behind them, just being patient and stuff, ordering my stuff. And so when I get to the end of the line to pay, the lady's like, oh, the family already took care of it for you. I was like, okay. I realized that, you know, I had given the 30 up, 30 down. So I was at a car rental company, and like this Asian couple, they were struggling to take their luggage. And I'm always somebody that I'm conscious to, you know, say hi to people, compliment people, just sow good karma into my day. And so when I saw them struggling, I was just like, yeah, can I help you with your luggage or whatever? So I guess they were shocked that I even, you know, asked or whatever. And they were like, please, you know, if you don't mind. So I just helped them like drag it to the line. It couldn't have even been that far. And then the Asian guy turns around and he gives me $50. I was like, okay. Let's see. Helping a friend with their catering business or whatever. Like, it was supposed to be something like really quick. He was going to give me $50. I ended up getting $150. A friend of mine just out of nowhere gave me $150 for Easter. I was just on their mind, and they, you know, they just gave me $150. I was at an event where I was helping my friend sell books or whatever, and then all of a sudden this TV crew with STEM, they're just like, they just walk up to where I am. They're like, we just feel like we should interview you. Like, what do you do? And you know what I mean? I told them I have a YouTube channel. I have other things that I'm doing. And so they ended up interviewing me. Now they're based in DC, and they were like, you know, the interview and stuff will be aired on TV in DC. But it was so interesting because while they were asking me questions before they interviewed me, literally Nick Cannon was one of the people that they interviewed. which there's a story with that I will be sharing in a video that's coming up. So for all of those that are interested and want to know and follow on this journey, feel free to subscribe, and then you'll be able to get the full story. So they've interviewed Miss America 2017, and they actually interviewed me before they did her. So I was just kind of like, okay, so you know, and that's just God giving you a sign that he's like raising you up and elevating you. And only because I sowed the 30 up, 30 down. Let's see, like just money coming in different directions at work, opportunities to make more money. Let's see. What else? Because I made sure I wrote all of them down. Oh, so I had the chance to go like relax at a resort, and it's like I have like, you know, points like with booking agencies and stuff, and the hotel was like begging me. They were like, no, don't book with your booking agency. Not only will we match the price of the agency, we'll match the price of the points you have. And I have a lot of points because I like to travel. I like to go different places. You never hear them say, they might say maybe they'll match, you know, the price of like the booking agency, but they never tell you they'll match the price of your points. So I mean, just unusual occurrences that I know happen because I obeyed God when he said, sow 30 up and sow 30 down and give to like, you know, 6 homeless people. And I mean, there's scriptural backing behind this. And I'm going to write it all in the comment section. But Proverbs 28:27 says, when we give to the poor, we won't lack. Daniel 4:27 talks about breaking off your iniquities by being righteous and by giving to the poor. And when you do that, there will be a lengthening of your prosperity. Proverbs 21:13, it talks about when we hear the cry of the poor, God also will hear us. So then it's also the flip. When you don't hear the cry of the poor, when you cry, God won't hear you. So it's some people that are believing for major breakthroughs or things to go out, you know, to happen in their lives. But it's like you see a homeless person, it's like it doesn't even cross your mind to like help them. And I mean, sometimes we become desensitized because there's so many like, you know, homeless people now. But it's like these are things that touches God's heart. So when you extend yourself, think about it. People like Oprah, they continue to get richer and richer. Why? Because they extend their, you know, building schools, helping the homeless, like doing things and being a blessing to others. So there are people that will never lack. And she doesn't even profess to be Christian, but God's principles work for whoever will work them. Let's see. What else happened? So yes, Proverbs 19:17. Let me open that real quick. But before then, I'll read Proverbs 1:12-9. It talks about, I've dispersed abroad, like I've given to the poor. God promises your righteousness will endure forever, and your horn will be exalted with honor. A horn is a sign of strength, and it's a sign of promotion. So that's saying influence. That's saying God exalting you, God enlarging you, you know, making your name bigger and making your name great. You know what I mean? Even financially. Proverbs 22:1. God promises, you know what I mean? He'll take you to a place where you're able to spend favor like money. So when I talk about going to the 2 places that I went to eat and I didn't have to pay, it wasn't that I didn't have the cash, but like God can favor you where he gives you money or he lets you spend favor, where people are good to you, where you don't even have to spend money. You can call, or you could be owing something and like you call the place and they just want to be good to you and forgive the debt. So let me quickly read Proverbs 19:17. Okay, Proverbs 19:17. It says, he who has pity on the poor lends to the Lord, and he will pay him back what he's given. So, I mean, these are, and what I love now, we're in a time of technology. You don't even have to take my word for it. You can put these scriptures in on Google and like the scripture will pop up. So this is not anything I'm fabricating, but this is like truth. There's a scripture in Matthew 25 from verse 34 to 40. God talks about, you know what I mean, when we go visit people in the hospital, when we go visit people in the prison, when we give a cup of cold water to somebody that's less fortunate, when we bless and do things for the poor, it's like we did it to Jesus himself. And then scriptures for sewing up. The Bible says, believe God, so shall we be established. Believe his prophets, so shall we prosper. So that's like messengers like me telling you the secrets of what it is God is telling me, and based off what he's doing in my life, if you listen and follow through and do it, because you've listened to the voice of his messenger, he's going to bless you with those blessings. And so Isaiah 44:26 also talks about the same thing. God confirms the word of his servants and performs the counsel of his messengers. So what I'm saying to you, you know, as you will sow 30 up and 30 down. And the reason maybe God probably said 30, because he's had me do way more than that before. I mean, sowing in the thousands, giving everything, you know what I mean? But he's built me back up. He's had me give everything I had 3 times, and then he built me back up. But yeah, why I asked God, why 30 and 30? But then he was like, there'll probably be skeptics watching, you know what I mean? People use $30, you know, on a dinner for themselves, or $30 to go gambling or whatever. So 30 is something easy or whatever. And then it's homeless people all around. So if you break that money up, even if you wanted to give 3 people $10, or you wanted to give, you know what I mean, 6 people $5, you know, you could personally do it and then watch and see the testimonies of what God is gonna do. But that's the down part. But then you have to sow 30 up, because you're sowing to advance God's kingdom, so that the gospel can be spread and people can be saved, and you know what I mean, people have hope, you know, they're not wanting to commit suicide. So the things that touch God's heart, so it's not even really about the amount, but it's touching God's heart, and it's the obedience. And so he told me these are the things, as you guys will cooperate and definitely try it. Whatever 6 people you want to give, you know, in terms of being homeless or less fortunate, and then where, you know, sowing upwards, you know what I mean, into like people that are, you know what I mean, advancing God's kingdom, that as you would do it, these are things that you can expect. 1 Samuel 3:19 says that it talks about the prophet Samuel. It says he grew in God's word. God was with him and didn't let any of his words fall to the ground. And God's like, okay, this is a season of elevation. So even for me, as I'm speaking his word, as I spent time in his presence, because he asked me to, in prayer, in praise, you know what I mean? When I'm telling you guys to do this, like, he's not going to let the word fall. If you will obey, if you will do it, you know, you're going to see blessings in your life. Even between now, today's the 26th of April, to May 26th. Give it 30 days. You know what I mean? If you'll even obey before the end of the month or whatever, and then count from the May 1st through the 26th, and then comment in my comment section of the testimonies that God did. Like, you will not be disappointed. These are some of the things that God said to expect. He said promotions at work. He said supernatural debt cancellation, where you may have owed something somewhere. You call back again and it's like, oh, like the balance has been canceled. Just, you know, don't ask any questions. Just thank God and know it's because of what you did, like in obedience or whatever, that's why that's happening for you. We don't usually do this miracles. What do I mean by that? Like how I told you that I got to stay at the resort, and they had told me, you know what I mean, like the hotel, they were gonna match, you know, what my booking agency price would be and give me the points. The lady who did it for me, she was like, we don't usually do this. So get ready for some, we don't usually do this miracles. Maybe you're believing for a home, but you know your credit's not the best, or you know what I mean, like a court case of a family member where you know it should be detrimental, but it's like the judge is like, you know, get ready for the judge to be like, this is not normal protocol, and God breaking protocol for you because, you know what I mean, you dare to obey, you dare to listen, you understand the time and season. This is Passover. This was the time where God split the Red Sea, you know, for the children of Israel to walk across, and that same sea came back together and killed their enemies. So it's like, you know, if you have some impossible Red Sea situations that you need to see God move, that only God can move. He said, dare to believe him, dare to try him. If you never give again, you know what I mean? Like, if you never give again, try him in this season. Like, he's waiting to break through for his people. Like, he's heard our cries. It's been a lot of warfare. You know, you've been praying for things for a long time, but he said, this is a new beginning. Exodus 12:2 is a beginning of months for you. And if you will listen and you will obey, you'll see his hand move in a way you've never seen him move for you before. He said, we don't usually do this miracles. Open doors to housing, you know, where credit, maybe your credit is not the best or whatever, or they need a certain security deposit. No, you're going to get favor where they'll lower it, or, you know what I mean, they'll work with you. You will be approved. Favor before people, discounts, court cases resolved in your favor. A lot of you probably have family members who are going through some serious situations where if God doesn't step in, it could be a long time for them in prison. But God is saying, try him. He's the God that split the Red Sea. He's the God that can do the impossible. And as you will try him, you know what I mean, you won't be disappointed and you won't be put to shame. But you got to listen to the voice of what it is I'm saying. Connection to big fish or divine appointments where God puts you at the right place at the right time. The example for that for me, being at the right place at the right time, and the TV crew from STEM just wanted to interview me. They've interviewed Nick Cannon. He's actually a celebrity. They've interviewed Miss America. Who am I that, you know what I mean? It's like, oh no, we got to know what you're up to and what you're doing. We're going to have this on TV. So just being at the right place at the right time, because I wasn't obedient to what God said to me, opened up a door, which when I came back from San Francisco, I had given the word in end of February that yes, God was opening up golden gates, like golden opportunities, keys of access, and he's starting to do that now, the unusual. He connected me to a man named Chris that owns like multiple businesses. He gave me his card. He was like, if you need anything, whatever you need, just call me. So I'm still praying on that to even figure out what to ask, because, you know, we don't depend on man. We seek God, and then whatever he tells, you know, me to ask, then I do, because you don't want it to ever be like, oh, he did this for me. No, like, God, what would you have me ask in alignment with what you want to do? But yeah, connection to like people that can move you forward, invest, you know, in your dreams. He said financial breakthrough, where either money is given to you or you're spending favor like money. Like how I was telling you, I went to eat at the Chili's. The manager said I didn't have to pay. I went to eat and I was behind the family of 8. They paid for my meal. So it's like you don't have to spend the money, or he can give that money to you. He said expect healing of your body or your family members speedily. Psalms 41, 1-3 says, blessed are we that give to the poor. Feel free to Google it. Blessed are we that give to the poor. God will deliver us in time of trouble. God will preserve us and keep us alive, and we will be blessed upon the earth. He will not deliver us to the will of our enemies. He'll strengthen us on our bed of languishing and make all our bed in sickness. So when you give to the poor, God brings you out of trouble. He'll keep you alive. Like, you know what I mean? He'll heal you. He'll heal family members. Like, that's how dear it is to God's heart, because it's kind of a law of attraction thing. You know what I mean? You're sacrificing for somebody else. So then it makes it to where God's attention is on you, because you're caring for somebody else. You're honoring your neighbor. You're loving your neighbor as you would yourself. So he said financial breakthroughs and turnarounds tailor-made to your situation. Your Red Sea situation that only God can get you out of. He's going to split the sea in whatever it is you're dealing with, as you will obey and do 30 up and 30 down, giving to the poor, however you want to dispense it. And then a divine wealth transfer. in this time in Exodus 12, God gave all the wealth of the Egyptians to the Israelites. So for all of us that believe in God, like, this is a time of unusual and unprecedented favor. Like I said, God connecting you to big fish, and they just want to be good to you and help you. Like I said, I met the businessman that owns like several businesses. He gave me his card. He said, whatever you need, like, let me know. I'm praying on it because I want to be careful that, I'm not asking anything crazy or just out of line, but that's the kind of season we're in. You know what I mean? You're at the right place at the right time, getting filmed by the right film crew. Who knows who's going to be watching in DC? You know what I mean? And they have my information. So it's just like, you just never know. When you obey God, He's the owner of the earth. So He knows where to put you at the right place at the right time so that, you know what I mean, you can walk into your dreams. You just never know what He's going to do on your behalf. And He's doing the unusual for His people that will believe Him. So get excited, guys. I invite you to try this if you never tried again. $60. Some of you use that to feed a family, literally, for lunch. So sow 30 up and sow 30 down, wherever you want to sow the 30. But I will say this, it's coming out of my mouth or whatever. Here I am on YouTube, definitely giving the word of God, definitely spreading the gospel and stuff, and you got it from me. You know what I mean? So it would make sense, because God is doing these miracles in my life, that you want to sow and partake in, someone that you already see is getting testimonies with these things. Because it's just like, okay, you have a rental car. Like, say you go to Hertz. You get a rental car from Hertz. You don't return it to Enterprise. You know what I mean? If you got these secrets that God downloaded to me, how do you sow to somebody else or whatever? Like, if you got a rental car from Hertz, you're not going to return it to Enterprise. You didn't get it from Enterprise. You got it from Hertz. So if you will be obedient and sow 30 up, my links are in the description. Sow 30 up and sow 30 however you want to do it. If you want to give to one homeless person, if you want to give to 6 homeless people, if you want to do more than 30, God just said 30 up, 30 down. Some of you can do way more than that or whatever. Some of you are believing for something really big, maybe a home, but you don't have all the money for it, but you're believing God's going to do it for you. Then do something really big and watch, in proportion to what it is you're believing for. Some of you have family members in real trouble, like legal trouble. Like, if God doesn't step in, there's no way they're going to get out. Well, sow something in proportion to what you're believing for. Some of you are believing for family members to be saved. Then believe and sow and trust God to, turn their hearts and bring them, like the prodigals, back into the home and stuff. Some of you have a strange relationship. This is a season where, some of you have broken up with exes, and God is going to reconcile that. God is bringing people's mates to them. God is like doing new things that is not even making sense in this season. So it's like, it's just time to align with the word of what He's saying and get in obedience and trust for your financial suddenly. I can't wait. For those of you who will obey, I can't wait to see the testimonies, because I know that they're going to be many, because even I'm continuously getting them. You know what I mean? And God said He's not going to let this word fall. For those of you this season and this week, as you know, we just celebrated Easter Sunday. So this season and this week is like a key significant time, a new beginning, that is, you will believe God and obey what He's saying and try Him, And yeah, to the skeptics, try Him. What do you have to lose? It's $30. You would gamble more in Vegas, If you try Him and there are testimonies, please comment it. Comment in my comment section. But don't comment saying it didn't work by May 26th. So in a month span of time or whatever, don't comment saying it didn't work and in your heart of hearts you didn't follow the instructions. 30 up and 30 down, like 30 to the poor, however you want to dispense it, and 30 upwards into ministries that are helping the gospel go forward. I mean, think about that. If all of us did that, I obeyed. I did more than 30 because, God, to whom much is given, much is required. So it's like, if I'm speaking for Christ, I have to be the example. I did more than 30. or whatever. But and it's a lifestyle for me or whatever. So I did more than 30. But you know what I mean? Think of if we all did that. I have almost 3,000 subscribers. If we all gave 30, or, you know, spread it out to 6 people, that's 18,000 people we've helped in this short span of time. And if we did that monthly, we don't need the government to help the poor. We can do that. You know what I mean? This is a season where I'm asking God for the influence so I can be an answer, so I can be a blessing. So as he blesses me, I can be a blessing for his name's sake and for his glory. And I promise you, I have even bigger testimonies to tell. My word in May, there's something that God has me working on that he's going to do, that he said when he does it in May, come back and tell. That will be my May word, my word for May. Come back and tell what he's done. So I'm excited, guys. Get excited. Like, I don't care what this season is looking like. God is saying it's a new season. Like I was saying, for those who are in California, like, it was a drought for the longest. And when I went to San Francisco, and even like driving on the roads now, it's so much greenery. It's so many beautiful flowers. The rains have been coming like frequently. It's because, you know, whatever is happening in the natural prognosticates what's going on in the spiritual realm. So if it's like, you know, nice and fruitful and everything is blooming, that's exactly what God has in store for his children who will listen to him, who will obey. And part of why he's saying this sacrifice and to do this is the week where God gave his son his best sacrifice. So if God can give his best for us, what is 30 up and 30 down for him in his season where, you know, he talks about this being an appointed time where you don't stand before him empty-handed, but to come with an offering. So, you know, I'm going to get into depth with that and teach on that because a lot of people aren't aware of that. Let me see. If you go, let's see. If you go to Exodus 13, he talks about, or Exodus 34, he talks about Exodus 34, 22 and 23. It says, and you shall observe the Feast of Weeks, the first fruit of wheat harvest, and the Feast of Ingathering at the year's end. 3 times in the year, all your men shall appear before the Lord your God. This is the first of the 3 times in Passover season. And verse 24 says, for I'll cast out the nations before you and enlarge your borders. Neither will any man covet your land when you don't stand before me empty. So when you come to God with your offering, he said he'll cast out your enemies before you. He said, I'll enlarge you. I'll promote you. I'll make your name great. I'll take you higher. And then he said, nobody will be able to take what's yours. So in a season where, you know what I mean, you're believing maybe for an acting gig, for those of you in entertainment, maybe a home, you have your eye on a specific home, but it's like, oh, other people have put in their bids. No, if you stand before God and you say, you come with a gift and you say, no, God, that's my home because